Welcome back, guys. My name is Chris, and I'm bringing you the August 2026 edition of NetSuite News. So the first thing we're going to get into, I have to bring it up just because we have very little time left for the new release quiz deadline. The deadline is August 31st. I have a video that I recently released where I talk in great detail about the new release quiz, what it means, why you take it, how you sign up, all these various elements. The very simple version is just if you have existing certifications and you want to keep them up to date and renewed, then you will need to take the new release notes quiz. More likely than not, you finally received an email from Oracle in the last maybe several weeks or a couple months. So that will have a lot of the information, but again, my YouTube video also goes into a great amount of detail and really walks you through that entire process. So the main thing I just want to make as a note in this video is that the deadline is August 31st. It will not be pushed back. So if you haven't yet done that quiz, make sure you do it immediately. It's a short quiz. It's quite easy to pass, but you do need to make sure you take it before the deadline or those certifications are going to expire. So just keep that in mind. And that really leads me into my next subject, which is the new release notes quiz is really a part of the overall certification program that Oracle has been revamping for the past year. And we're now just getting to the end of that revamp process. So in probably 2 weeks, potentially maybe a month, Oracle's going to be doing a big announcement talking about the last parts of the program that they're going to be clarifying and releasing for the public. So I'm aware of several of the things that are coming out, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll let Oracle do the official announcement, and then I'll have videos coming out talking about the final changes and really the program overall now that it's been solidified and what that means for you and some tips in terms of how you can keep your certifications, get new ones, etc. So keep an eye out for that. Certainly in my NetSuite News September video, more likely than not, it will have been released by then, and I'll be talking about it in that video. So keep an eye out for that. The next thing I want to comment on is something that is technically news, but is not going to be that surprising to anyone who's been paying attention, which is the release of NetSuite Next. If you're not already familiar with it, NetSuite Next is Oracle's kind of new product, which is going to be a reskin for NetSuite as well as AI features really embedded into the system. And while it's been hyped for years at this point, it's now officially releasing as a part of the 2026.2 update. So that is not that much of a surprise because that's really when Suite World is going to be happening. So obviously they want that product released so they can talk about all the incredible things that are coming with NetSuite Next, how people can take advantage of it, et cetera, et cetera. No question that's going to be the main staple for that event. So that is something you should be aware of. Now, I do have a video I released just a couple months ago where I demoed NetSuite Next and I talk a little bit about its current state. No doubt they've made some improvements since then, but I'm also quite sure that the AI capabilities in the system are probably to the point where you can release it and you can play around with it and maybe get some usefulness out of it, but there's no question that it is not in a mature state. So it still needs work. They're still going to be polishing out some of the rough edges and making improvements on it, certainly in the next couple months leading up until Suite World, and then no doubt in the years to follow, they'll be making it better, more intuitive, more effective at actually doing things in the system. So for now, just be aware of the fact that yes, it is now officially coming out. And that really leads me into my next point, which is the AI element of NetSuite Next. So I just talked about the fact that it is not quite mature. And I just released a course today, which is going over AI and NetSuite from a standpoint of everything that currently exists. So we do talk a little bit about NetSuite Next in that course, but really what we're covering is the prompt studio, the text enhance, the MCP connectors with things like Claude or ChatGPT, where you can use a lot of existing tools right now and bring in AI capabilities to your NetSuite system as it currently exists before you even have to get into NetSuite Next. And there are so many incredible things you can do. And this is an area I would say is relatively mature. There are things that are very robust, they're very stable, and they can do incredible reporting capabilities. There's agents you can build. all kinds of different things. So we really dive into that at great length in that NetSuite AI course. When I say we, it's not just me, but it's also predominantly done by Martin Reed from Reed Consulting. They do incredible seminars. They're just absolute experts in the system, and they've really dove into the subject of AI and NetSuite. So if you have any interest in that topic, I highly recommend you check out that course. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is the fact that I'm going to try to start doing webinars. So I can't promise an exact date, but hopefully within the next month, I announce my first webinar, and I'm starting to get the technical details worked out right now, starting to flesh out what we could do webinars on. And I'd like to ask you guys what you'd like to see a webinar on. So are there particular topics? Ones that come to mind for me are things like how to prepare for NetSuite certifications, Suite Foundation, the ERP consultant exam, these kinds of things. And there's a lot of new certifications that have come out in the last year. So if you want me to do a webinar on that, I absolutely can. If you want to learn how to make a career as a NetSuite administrator, or maybe you want a webinar just on AI capabilities in NetSuite, maybe when NetSuite Next comes out, I can do a full webinar on that. I'd love to hear your guys' ideas and what you find most interesting and you'd like to be able to have an actual live kind of Q&A session on. So that's what's coming in the near future, and that wraps up this current edition of NetSuite News. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and with all that in mind, I hope to see you in the next video.